Professor Sperling, thank you very much for a really very interesting and timely talk. My first question was about the state of NATO currently and the trajectory. Where do you see it going?
I think that NATO as a military alliance is heading toward a very difficult future. And that difficulty is driven by the strategic and fiscal issues that I discussed in the presentation. And my greatest fear, I suspect, is that the lack of strategic cohesion in the alliance, owing to the different interests of the member states, in conjunction with the inability to, and unwillingness to purchase a military that's capable of fighting, is going to perhaps become a fatal characteristic of the alliance.
During the talk, you mentioned that a lot of the European countries seem to be moving much towards a regional security alliance. Do you see any likelihood at all of them signing on with a more global expeditionary type alliance?
No, the NATO allies would resist the globalization of NATO. I don't think they have any interest in having an expeditionary capability akin to that of the United States. I think that many of our allies got their fingers burned in Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're not going to let that happen again. And so I think that in a way, America has drawn down its kind of goodwill and its capital from the Cold War period with these other conflicts, and that has, I think, affected our ability to have a NATO that's going to be able to project power globally.
So I'm trying to find some sort of optimism in this case. What would you say? What does the best case scenario look like for NATO going forward in the next, say, decade and a half?
I think the best case scenario is the acquisition of a military capable of projecting power out of region where necessary. For example, being able to intervene in areas that are of critical strategic interest to Europe, like the Mediterranean, like south of the Sahara, like the Horn of Africa. Europe has an interest in being able to project power in those areas to maintain stability, to cope with failed states and all the other good stuff that we worry about. Likewise, in the Arctic, there's going to be a lot of questions about the ability of ships to actually navigate the northern passage. And the Europeans are going to have to be able to partake in protecting that maritime space. So I think that if the Europeans as a whole were able to come together with a single military, not in the sense of a European army or European navy, but one that was actually integrated, and there's kind of a concept of a European military capability and a European will to use that capability, then I think we would be much better off.